In these videos, I use shortcut keys to make modeling more efficient. Shortcut keys are set up under Shortcuts, under System Preferences. To assign a key, start typing in the menu designation in the filter box. For instance, Hide. Select Edit Hide. Type in the letter you want. Let's add another layer. We'll call it New. And we'll put all our new stuff on that layer. Turn off Faucet. We can isolate things a little bit easier. Put everything on layer New. So now we can see the faucet without the new stuff or with the new stuff independently. Alright, turn off the new stuff. To model the head of the faucet, there's an arc in here, so that speaks of follow me, especially if we take this profile we already have and sweep it around. So that'll be good. We'll reuse that. Draw an arc, A, and we'll do a four-sided, 4S. We'll start from here to here, and we'll pull it away to get our arc. Maybe that's not enough. Let's do 8S, 8 segments, 8 sides. See how it's not, there's a little flat spot in here. This little segment here, and then the arc spring from there and there around. So there's a little flat spot in here. We'll take that into account as we proceed. Back to a four-sided, 4S, 4 segments. So we'll draw our arc from here to here. Pull it away. Yes, that's matching the geometry much better. Another arc. Endpoint to endpoint. Find the CAD geometry. L, I'm going to draw a line, straight segment there. Follow me works best if it starts from a straight segment before it heads into a curve. That lets it provide the angle math properly. So triple click. There's our path that we're going to follow. I'm going to copy or move that off geometry. Oh, our axis is still lined up goofy. Let's reset the axis. Right click, reset the axis back to the world. Triple click and move that in the red. Go our 5 inches. Turn off the faucet. Let's look at our new faucet and draw a profile here. L, start from the midpoint. We'll go to here, to there, or we know it's a four-sided arc, so we can immediately do that. A, 4 sides. Click and place it. L to continue on. Endpoints. Find the midpoint. And go back up. There's our profile we're going to use. Select that and make a group of it and move it out 5 inches. We want the profile to start at the end of our path and not in the middle. Come in here and find the intersection, move it from there, and place it, T for transparency, place it at the end point. T to turn transparency back off. Let's check and make sure everything's lining up properly before we proceed. Turn off New, turn on the faucet, and select all our stuff and move it back 5 inches. Yeah, that's what I thought. The profile is going to start outboard of where we need it. So spacebar, select it, move it in the green, hold shift, place it on the side of our profile. Since we're going to be marrying to the new geometry, not the old, let's check it against the new and see. Oh, it's still a little bit off. Let's go from our new geometry, since that's what's going to govern eventually. Click to place it. Looks good. That bulge is because, it's continuing to taper, so we'll deal with that in a minute. Let's move this out. Triple click. Move this back out. In the red, 5, so we can work on it independent of the other geometry. Examining the profile. It's not exactly on this path. Let's correct that. I'm going to edit the profile and show the rest of the model. Oh, there it is. It's this gray line. I'm going to move this endpoint from there in the green till we're at the endpoint of the path. So now we're lined up. That's better. Right click and explode that. Triple click on the path. Double click on our profile. There's the path we're going to follow. There's the profile. Path is selected. F for follow me. And there is our new faucet head. Swept around there. If we turn on hidden geometry, we see how it's segmented it around the top. Let's go ahead and clean that up if we can. E for erase. We'll just start erasing slowly. Oh, when we hit one that it doesn't like, we'll just put it back in. Let's undo. Oh, there must be a bend in the geometry at those points where it changed direction. That's okay. We'll erase these. Got a little gap there. Maybe that's why it was not liking that line segment to be erased. Let's move that. See if we can move it to the endpoint. Turn on auto fold and go to that endpoint and see what happens. Nope, I don't like that, so I'm going to back up. We'll draw this in. Creates the surface. We'll erase that. It still doesn't like that. Erase that. Erase those segments. Great, so we're left with the top. Not sure what's going on with this little line here. Let's isolate that, see if we can eliminate it. There we go. Nope, still doesn't like it. That's fine. We'll never see it. It's all one smooth surface. Get rid of the internal geometry that we don't need. We don't want that to follow us around. And there's the head of our faucet. Let's try cleaning that up as well. There's our cleaned up faucet head. Let's move it back in place. Turn off hidden geometry. Triple click on it to select everything, and we're going to move it back 5 inches. And we want to stitch the geometry back to the neck that we've created already. Looks to me like it'd be good to move this part of the neck back to meet the geometry of the circular array. We'll double click on it to edit the neck. Draw a line from the midpoint down to the midpoint so that we've created 2 halves that we can work with. Select the geometry. See if we can just move it. Let's move it along its direction. So I'm going to hover over that edge and hold shift. Click, and we're going to move it along its own direction till we hit that endpoint. We don't want to warp the geometry too much from its modeled state. So that shoved everything back in a row. And let's select these 2 edges and move them up and this edge, and this edge. So we want the edge, not the face. We're going to move them up in the direction of their geometry till we hit the surface of the new stuff we've drawn. It's good enough, and then we will adjust the new head geometry to match. Here's where we'll turn on hidden geometry. We'll use the move tool with just vertexes. Let's start up here. And we know we don't need this. Where does our neck geometry end? Ends out here. So we'll select all this, move it away 2 inches this time, just enough so we can get rid of the geometry we don't need, which is all this stuff. Good. Select all this again, move it back 2 inches. We want to move all the vertices to match the vertex of the neck. So hover over the endpoint, click, and find the endpoint. Click to place. We want to make sure we grab that geometry and not the neck geometry. T for transparency to find the endpoint. Oh, autofold, and find the endpoint. Click, autofold, find the endpoint. Thing. Click, autofold, find the endpoint. We're just stitching the new geometry to our other geometry, vertex by vertex. Endpoint, autofold, endpoint. Do the same on this other side. Be right back. I want to hide all those, or soften all those edges. So I select them, soften and smooth those. Same with these. Oops. Just the edge, please. Soften, smooth. There we go. Let's compare this to the CAD. Turn on the CAD faucet. There it is. It's pretty good, but this slope as it goes flying out looks like it's twisted a little bit. That this plane under here got rotated about, looks like it rotated about this line. So let's go ahead and rotate that R. I'm going to start from this end point, pull out, find the green, and we'll rotate that downwards. Just visually line it up. Come on. It's going to fight me, so it's at minus point, no, it's at 0.5. Let's click and try 0.6. Let's try 0.9, 2, 3. 3 is pretty good. 2.8. Good. I was just watching until it matched or was hidden by the CAD. Actually, 2.8 was maybe not enough. 2.6. There we go. Yeah, there we go. So that's been rotated downwards to match. The other one looks good, but the diameter of it, the radius of it, seems to have changed also. So we'll select this. Be nice to be able to just scale it downward, wouldn't it? But right now our scale box, if we turn off the faucet, isn't going to scale properly. If I do it from here, it's going to warp it. That's not what we want. We want it to line up. If I line up my axis first, set my axis along here and along here, and then select this and scale. Now the scaling box is aligned more properly to what I want. And as I do that, if I turn on Faucet, I can just push it back to match the CAD. So there we go. Okay, turn off Faucet, and there's our remodeled. I'm going to right click, reset the axis back to the world origin. There's our faucet head. All we have to do is add the aerator.